Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess and in today's tutorial we are doing a Halloween special. Since Halloween is right around the corner, we thought we would share our Halloween Frankenstein squishmallow pattern. This is going to be a step-by-step pattern on how to make your own squishmallow pillow, so let's get into it. So for supplies for this pattern, we're going to need some yarn, obviously. I'm going to be using my favorite chunky yarn, Baby Snuggle. I'm going to be using the brown for the bottom, the green for the midsection, and the black for the top. This black is Honey Bunny, but it's basically the exact same as the Baby Snuggle yarn. And then the green, or the gray, sorry, is going to be for the side pieces on the head. We're also going to need a crochet hook. I'm going to be using my 5.5mm crochet hook. We'll need a pair of scissors, a darning needle, a stitch marker, some fiber fill, fabric pins, and some safety eyes. And these are just 14mm safety eyes. So once we've gathered all of our supplies, we can get started. All right, now to begin, we're going to start off with the top of the Frankenstein. So we're going to start off with his hair, and I'm going to be using this black yarn here. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a slip knot. Just like that. Now once we have our slip knot, we're going to chain 26. So yarn over, pull through, that's 1. Yarn over, pull through, that's 2, yarn over, pull through, that's 3. So we're going to do that 26 times. Now I'm sorry and I apologize, this yarn is really hard to see on camera, and I'm sure it's harder to see in real life for yourself, but that's just the black yarn, it's just hard to see. So I'm going to work away on my chains, that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So there's our 26 chains. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to skip the very last chain, the chain that's closest to your hook here, and in the second chain from the hook we're going to place a single crochet. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both, and we're going to place a single crochet in each stitch across. Now we chained 26, we skipped the first one, so we should have 25 single crochets to complete on this side. So there is our 25 single crochets. Now what we're going to do is we have our single crochets that we just completed on the top. Now we're going to flip our work and we're going to be working into the bottom of each chain. So we're creating an oval right now. So there should be 25 on the bottom as well. And I'm just going to crochet right over my yarn end as well. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So just complete your 25 on the bottom and you should have a total of 50 single crochets around. And we'll meet you back here at the end of round 2. All right, so this is what we're looking like after round 2. Now we're going to need to grab our stitch marker, and I just like to use a scrap strand of yarn. I'm just going to place it right in front of my very last stitch, and we're going to start with round 3. So round 3, we're going to start off with 3 increased stitches. Now an increased stitch is 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So insert yarn over, pull through 2, and then insert right back into that same stitch for another stitch. We're going to do that 2 more times. So 2 stitches in 1, and 1 more time, 2 stitches in 1. Next, we're going to single crochet 19. So 1 single crochet in each stitch for 19 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So that's where we're at so far. Next, we're going to do increased stitches again, and we're going to do 6 of them. So 6 increased stitches. So 6 2 stitches in 1. So 1, 2, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Next, we're going to do single crochet 19 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Now you should have 3 stitches left before our stitch marker. So in those last 3 stitches, we're going to place increased stitches again. So 2 stitches in 1. So there's 1. There's 2. And 3. And that is round 3 completed. All right, so moving on to round 4. At the end of round 3, we should have had 62 stitches. So for round 4, we're going to do single crochet 62. So that's 1 single crochet in each stitch around for 62 stitches. 4, 5, 6, 7. So I will finish this off camera and I'll meet you back here for round 5. All right, that is round 4 completed. Now we're going to move on to round 5. So to start off with round 5, we're going to do the combination single crochet 1 and an increase, single crochet and an increase. We're going to repeat that one more time. So single crochet and an increase, just like that. Next, we're going to crochet single crochet 23 across the top here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Okay, so after our single crochet 23, we're going to do that combination of single crochet increase again. We're going to repeat that 4 times. Single crochet increase, that's 1, 2, 3, single crochet increase, that's 4. Now we're going to do another 23 single crochets along. All right, after the single crochet 23, we're going to do the combination single crochet increase again, single crochet increase, and we'll repeat that one more time, single crochet increase, and you should have a total of 70 stitches around after the end of round 5. Now moving on to round 6 and 7, so 2 rounds, we're going to do single crochet 70. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around for rounds 6 and 7. I'm going to complete that off camera. Once you're finished round 7, we'll come back here for round 8. All right, so this is what we're looking like at the end of round 7. Now moving on to round 8, we're going to change colors here. We're going to go on to the green. So what I like to do is I'm just going to take out just the final loop here of our last single crochet, and I'm going to grab those 2 stitches that I would have. Normally I would yarn over and pull through. I'm just going to cut my black yarn here, and I'm going to grab my new green that I'm going to use. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab that new color with my hook, pull that through to finish off that single crochet, and now we have our new color on our hook. 1, 2, 3. I just like to do a few stitches, and then I'm just gonna tie a really light knot here at the end so that these stitches don't come out. Now this is round 8. So for rounds 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, so 7 rounds, we're going to continue doing single crochet 70. So that's 1 single crochet in each stitch around for 7 rounds. 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to finish this off camera, and I will meet you back here for round 15. All right, this is what we're looking like up to round 14 with the green color yarn. Now for round 15, we're going to do a decrease round. So to start, we're going to do the combination single crochet 1 and a decrease. So single crochet and a decrease. Now for our decreases, we're going to do the invisible decrease. So what that means is we're going to grab the front loop of this first stitch here, and then the front loop of the second, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops, yarn over, pull through. That's a decrease stitch. Now we're going to repeat that 2 more times. Single crochet, decrease, that's 1. Now we have 1 more, single crochet, decrease. Like that. Next, we're going to crochet 23 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that's 23 single crochets along the top. Next, we're going to do the combination single crochet decrease again. So single crochet, decrease, and we're going to do that a total of 4 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, then 23 single crochets again. $23. And then the very last thing that we're going to do is we're going to do one more single crochet decrease. Single crochet and a decrease. And that is round 15 completed. And at the end of round 15, you should have 62 stitches. So moving on for rounds 16 through 29. So that's 14 rounds. We're going to do single crochet 62. 1, 2, 3, 4. So just complete that all the way to round 29, and then I'll meet you back here for the next step. All right, so this is what we're looking like up to round 29 complete of our green and our black. And now we're going to change colors again for the brown portion. So we're going to do the same thing we did for the change from black to green. We're just going to take out the top part of that last stitch green. I'm just going to cut this yarn here. And then I'm going to take my brown that I'm using for the pants. And I'm going to grab that and I'm going to pull it through. Now I'm going to just make a couple, make sure I have my working end, not the other end. I'll just make a couple single crochets here quick. And then I'm just going to tie a little knot here. Just like that. And now I'm going to be working with my brown yarn. Now we just finished up to row 29, so moving on now to round 30. From round 30 to 40, so that's going to be 11 rounds. We're going to do single crochet 62 with the brown yarn. So same thing we just did, single crochet 62 up to round 29. Now up until round 40, we're going to do single crochet 62 in the brown yarn. So I am going to again complete this off camera because it takes quite a long time and I'm sure you don't want to see that. And I will meet you back here at the end of round 40. All right, so this is what we're looking like after we've completed all of our 40 rounds for the body, the hair, the main part, and the pants. So all I did was take out my stitch marker and I just made a slip stitch to the final stitch here just to knot that off. And before we go forward with stuffing and everything like that, we're going to do all of our details and we're going to place our eyes first before we go further. So where we're going to place the eyes is on rounds 17 and 18. So I'm just going to count down. We started at the top. I'm just going to count from my first green round, which is round 8. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 17 and 18 is here. So I'm just going to roughly place an eye. And then I'm going to go to the other side here and place another eye. So we want about 11 stitches in between the eyes. And you just want to make sure that they're even on both edges. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So about 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I think that's pretty centered. So once I'm happy with that, I'm going to take my backings here and I'm just going to attach those to secure the eye. Do the other eye. Perfect. So our eyes are now attached. So once our eyes are attached, next we're going to make the hair a little bit more hair-like. So I'm just going to be taking my black yarn here, and I'm going to cut about 16 to 20 inches of it. We're going to sew on, and if you need to cut more later, you can. It doesn't have to be the exact amount. And we're also going to grab our darning needle for this. So I'm just going to place this right on my darning needle. Now what I like to do is we're just basically going to go along the hairline, and we're going to do different lengths of lines along. So I'm just going to start over here on the side, and I'm going to go up. I'm going to go into where the black is, and I'm going to just pull that through like that. Now I'm going to go down like a couple rounds, and then I'm going to go over a couple. This does not have to be perfect. You're just making lines basically. So there's my first one. I'm going to do a shorter one here. Then I'm going to go and do a long one. And I'm just going to go along the hairline and do this until it's done. And I only do this on the front. If you want to do it on the back, you can for sure. But I personally do not. Just going to move over a little. There. So there's my wonky Frankenstein hair. It's not perfect, but neither is Frankenstein, so I think it looks great. So now I'm just going to cut my yarn here. And because I have so much left over, I'm going to use this for the next step as well. What we're going to do is we're going to make a couple scars on his face. So the first one I'm going to do is just going to be right over top of his eye here. So I'm actually going to go in on the same point that I did over here, and I'm just going to insert it. Again, this is not, you know, a rule book. This is just a pattern, so you do with it what you want. Oopsies, I pulled that all the way through. It doesn't have to be perfect by any means. This is just where I'm going to place my scar, but you don't have to place yours here. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up, and then I'm going to go over to maybe here. So there's going to be a line, and then I'm just going to do lines over top as well. Kind of like it's been sutured closed. And then I'm just going to push this through a little bit. There we go. Now I'm going to go over to the other eye here. It's going to take me a couple tries to get over there. And I think I'm going to do one underneath this eye. So maybe just start right here. I'm just going to go up here. I'm just going to do the exact same thing. A scar with 3 lines through it, like 6 stitches. Just have fun with it. And then I'm going to actually push this all the way through to meet up with my other guy here. There we go. And there are my 2 stitches. Lastly here for these guys, I'm just going to tie a knot on both of them. I'm going to cut this guy here. And then I'm just going to take a smaller crochet hook. I'm just going to weave these ends in. Go. All right, and that is those details completed. All right, so lastly, we're going to put the smile on. So I'm just going to take some more of my black yarn here. We don't need a ton. And I'm going to take my darning needle. Now I kind of want to do, I like to do with this guy a little side smile. So it's going to be over here. And I like to put it on round 21. So our eyes are on 17 and 18. So 19, 20, so 21. I'm going to insert it right here, kind of in line with the inside of the eye. I'll just bring you in a little so you can see what I'm doing. So the inside of the eye, I'm just inserting my darning needle right there. And then I'm going to bring it over about 3 to 4 stitches and to the bottom of row. So we're in the top of round 21 at first, and then we're going to go down to the bottom of round 21. And I'm just going to push that through back to there. And there's his little smile. Now I'm just going to tie a knot again here, and just not tying it too tight or it will pull our smile tight. We don't want that. Just going to cut that. And again, we'll just weave in our ends here. There we go. Bring you back out. And there is all of the face details completed. So next we're going to stuff our body and we're going to close our bottom. So the first thing I'm going to do is, if your yarn tail doesn't line up with the corner, we're just going to cut it. So I'm just going to cut this, and I'm going to attach that end to my darning needle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this bottom piece in half, and I'm just going to place this piece of yarn where it's about right in the corner, and I'm just going to tie a knot. Now that's all ready for me to sew. So now we're going to stuff. So I'm just going to take my fiber fill here, and I'm just going to start stuffing. Just fill the corners first of his head. guy takes quite a lot of stuffing, so. Now don't worry if some of your facial details get pulled. We can fix that all before we close it up. I'm just really sweeping the fiber fill out to the corners of our head, just like that. You don't want to overstuff, but you do want enough stuffing that you're going to keep the shape of your pillow. So I think that's kind of where I'm going to stop for right now. I'm going to stuff a little bit more before we're fully closed. But now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pinch the bottom here, and I'm just going to sew this closed. You can go kind of like halfway, stuff a little bit more if you need to. Just make sure we're going to be bringing stuffing into these corners here because they're empty right now. Just going to go along here. So I'm just going to stuff some of that stuffing over. So now that I'm about there, I'm just going to put a little bit more stuffing here. And I'm going to put some right in this corner here. Just going to look at my guy, make sure I'm happy with that, and then I will sew up the rest. All right, so we are sewn up. Now I'm just going to go into the corner here and make a little knot. And then I'm just going to push this through to the body. Just cut that. This yarn does shed quite a lot, so get rid of all the fluffies here. And there's our stuffed Frankenstein. And we'll do the next step right after this. All right, so moving on, we're going to work on the ears now. So to start for the ears, what we're going to do is we're going to make a magic ring. Take our hook here. And once we have our magic ring, we're going to place 6 single crochets within the ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And just pull that tight. Just gonna grab my stitch marker and I'll just place it right there. Now moving on to round 2, we're going to do an increase round. So we're going to do 1 increase stitch in every stitch around. So we should have 12 stitches at the end of round 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So just like that. Now moving on to round 3. For rounds 3, 4, and 5, so 3 rounds, we're going to do single crochet 12. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around for rounds 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to finish these off camera and I'll meet you back here at the end of round 5. Alright, so this is what we're looking like after round 5, and that is the final round. So I'm just going to remove my stitch marker here. And I'm just going to place a slip stitch into the very next stitch and pull that through. And I'm going to cut about 12 inches tail and pull that through. And I'm also going to just cut the starting tail because we don't need it. So now what we're going to do with our ear is we're just going to shape it. So we're going to have our tail here on the very edge in the corner, and we're going to attach it to our darning needle. So I'm just going to grab my darning needle here, just like that. Now we're going to just fold the ear in half fully, and then we're going to fold it again in half so that you have all 4 rounds there, and then your ear looking like this. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to sew this together, both sides. And when we're going through the top, I just want to make sure we're going through all 4 rounds, the 4 lines here of stitches. And that's how our ears should be looking. Just going to make a little knot. And there is 1 ear. So just go back and make a second ear, and then when you're done that, we will come back here and sew it onto the body. All right, so I have 2 ears made, so I'm just going to bring you out, oopsies, and I'm going to bring in our body here. Now we are going to place our ears on rounds 17 to 19. So we're going to count from the green again, because I just find the black is hard to count. You guys can't really see that. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, so 17. And what I like to do here is just place a pin, 17, 18, and 19. And it should be in line with your eye if you've counted correctly. And that's where that's going to go right there. So I'm just going to place that there, and I'm just going to place it just wherever I think it looks the best. You can pin this in place before you sew it on. Of course, I never do that. I know I should, but I don't. So now we're just going to sew this on. Just like that. And then all I'm going to do is just tie a little knot. Tie a little knot right here. And I'm just going to push my end to the back. there's one attached, and now we do the exact same thing to the other side. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, right in line with the eye. What I didn't mention on this side that I was counting earlier was that it should be about 7 stitches from the eye. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's pretty good. So I'm going to just take my ear here, place that right there, and I'm going to sew it on. Here we go. And then I will just do another knot here like I did on the other side. And I'm just going to push that through to the same spot that I put the first one. Just going to tie that together. I'm just cutting my ends. Put these on my darning needle here. And then I'm just going to push that through. And I'll just cut these last tails here. And there are our ears attached. All right, the very last thing we're going to do is the metal pieces on his head. So I'm going to take my light gray yarn here, and for the first piece, this is like a 2-piece part that we're going to sew together. So for the first piece, what we're going to do is we're going to create a slip knot. We're going to put that on our hook, and we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, we're going to skip this very first stitch, and into the second stitch, we're going to place a single crochet. And we're going to go along and place 4 single crochets in the remaining 4 stitches, since we skipped the first one. So there's 4. Now we're going to move on to the bottom of our project. So we're going to flip this over. Now you can see here the bottom loops of those chains. We're going to be working into those with, again, 4 single crochets. So there's 1, and I'm just crocheting over my yarn end here just for extra security that it's not going to come out. So there's 3, and there's 4. So now we have a little oval. So I'm going to just place my stitch marker. Now we just have 1 more round left in this piece. So to start, we're going to do an increase stitch. So 1, 2 stitches in 1. Then we're going to place 2 single crochets in the next 2 stitches. So 1 in the next, 1 in each stitch. Then we're going to do 2 increase stitches. So 2 stitches in 1. So 1, 2. And then we're going to go right next door to the next one, and we're going to put another increase stitch there. Then we're going to do 2 single crochets, so 1 single crochet in each stitch for the next 2. And then in the very last stitch here, we're going to place another increase stitch. And that is the end of part 1 of our metal piece. So I'm just going to make a slip knot here into the next stitch, and I'm just going to cut my yarn, pull that through, and now we're just going to put this to the side. All right, so moving on, we're going to work on the second piece for the metal piece here. So we're going to start off with a magic ring. Whoopsies. And inside our magic ring, we're going to place 5 single crochets. I'm just going to grab my working end here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and just pull that closed. And I'm going to just place my stitch marker. Now for rounds 2, 3, and 4, so that's 3 rounds, we're going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So single crochet 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's round 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's round 3. And we'll do one more. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that is the second piece complete. So I'm just going to remove my stitch marker here. I'm going to just place a slip stitch into the very first stitch here. And I'm going to cut my yarn. I'm also going to cut my middle yarn end there because it's too long. Just pull that through. And this piece I'm just going to stick through. So that is the second piece. So now we'll bring back our first piece, and I'm also going to cut this yarn tail. So now what we're going to do is our first piece, we're going to fold it in half and make sure our yarn tail is on the outside. We're going to grab our darning needle, and the very first thing we're going to do is we're just going to sew together the first 2 stitches, just like that. Now we're going to put the first or the last round of our second piece into the center of our first, so it makes a little T. And then we're just going to sew it together like that. And when you're sewing, you just want to make sure you're grabbing all 4 stitches on, so 2 on here, 2 on here, to make sure that it's secured. That, and then you're going to have just your remaining stitches on this end. So I'm just going to sew those together. Don't worry about this yarn end, we will fix that also. So there is our T. Now I'm just going to tie a knot here with these 2 yarn ends. Now we're going to attach this to the head on the skinny side. So I'm just going to push this yarn end through now to the end of here. Just like that. And then this guy here, just going to tie a little knot. And I'm just going to push that through to the other side. And cut that. So there's one of our metal pieces completed. So just go back, make one more of these, and then we'll meet back here to sew them on. All right, so I have my 2 metal pieces. Now I'm going to bring you out. Now we're going to attach these onto the head. Now we're going to attach them in a similar position as the ears, but we're going to position them on rounds 13 to 15, so slightly above, and we're just going to place them right behind the ear. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so 13, 14, 15. So it's going to look kind of like that. So I'm just going to grab my darning needle here, and I'm just going to sew that on. And I'm just going to put another stitch here in the front just to keep it forward, like coming towards us so that you can see it. And then I'm going to just tie a knot. And I'm just going to push that through to the back. So there's one of our metal pieces attached. Now we're going to go to the other side. So I'm just going to place this on my hook here, my needle. I'm going to count down 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so 13. So about there. That looks about right. So I'm just going to sew this one on as well. Here we go. Tie a little knot. And push this one down as well. Now I'm just going to tie a knot here. And then I'm just going to weave those in. And there is your completed Squishmallow Frankenstein. I hope you guys really enjoyed this pattern. Please let us know in the comments down below if you have any other suggestions for us. Otherwise, we hope you guys have a lovely day and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!